My evil aunt did something so ridiculous, she went and told my future mother-in-law that I'm an atheist. And, well, that is a huge, huge deal, because my future mother-in-law is a strong Catholic. So now she's trying to break off the wedding. You won't believe why my aunt did this. I'm going to tell you everything, but first you need to know, my soon-to-be husband is 100% on my side. I think. Hey guys, my name's Sherry. I'm a 27-year-old woman who was almost about to get married this week. Yes, almost. I think I've had the most stressful, frustrating day of my entire existence. All because of my aunt and mother-in-law. My fiance James and I have had the worst week of our lives when it was actually supposed to be the best week, since we were about to get married. All the arrangements had been made, but then my stupid evil aunt ruined everything. I'm at a really desperate point and a difficult crossroad. I need help. So, a little bit of a background, my aunt's name is Debbie. She's 52. My mother and Debbie had a very strenuous relationship because Debbie always had very negative outlooks on their relationship. See, I remember my mom spending years trying to forgive the million terrible things that Debbie did to her, as well as financially help her, and still getting mentally abused by her. I've known and seen it from a very young age that she was always jealous of my mom, always trying to one-up her, even when it was not needed. And my mom was nothing but forgiving and loving towards her. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of their relationship, but the bottom line is that Debbie was always looking for ways to pull my mother down. My mother, she passed away 2 years ago, and since then I've become the focus of her pettiness. She's dragged me in on multiple occasions, personally and in front of all the relatives at wedding functions and whatnot. She crashed my birthday party even though she was not invited, and caused a big drama in front of all my friends and family, saying how my mom would be ashamed of me since I did not invite her dear sister. She said that I look like a crap, and was just talking a lot of poop about me to everyone at the party. And since none of them had enough context about our history, they all took her word for it and started doubting my character. I have legit lost touch with 2 of my cousins since the party. They just started acting weird and grew distant. I mean, what could I even have done? So, you see, now these are the kind of unnecessary things that she does to mess with me. And this is just one example. This is the reason why I've tried to keep her as far away from my wedding preparation as possible. Until last week, James and I had hosted a small intimate dinner with some of our friends and family. It was mostly my friends and James' parents and brother. Now, I have no idea where Debbie even got to know about it, or maybe she just happened to show up at my house that very night out of the blue. A brilliant coincidence, and she crashed that dinner party too. And since she did not exactly have an idea that I was getting married this week itself, it was an even bigger disaster. Well, James opened up the door and he knew a little bit about her. I asked her what she was doing here, and suddenly at such an odd hour, 9 p.m. unannounced, she said she just wanted to see me since it's been a very long day. I wasn't buying any of it, and she just made her way into the dining room into a rush. I tried to stop her, but it was too late. She saw everybody and realized that I was having a party, so I was forced to introduce her to everyone. I took her to the kitchen and she started asking me who all these people were. I told her that I was getting married this week, and they were all my friends and in-laws here to celebrate. Well, she was shocked and pretended to be hurt that I did not invite her, and she started getting loud. I shut her down and said, what did she expect after all the ruckus she caused at my birthday party last year when it had not even been that long since my mother died? She tried to make some stupid excuse, but I told her that if she did not shut up and behave like a normal person, I would not hesitate to kick her out this time and give some excuse to the guest. She then just pretended to apologize and said that she's been missing me and feeling pretty lonely all by her lonesome and just wanted some company. And she asked me to just silently sit at the dinner. You know, I felt a little bad for her because even though she was evil, she did not deserve to feel lonely. She joined the dinner party and was pretty silent throughout. We were all drinking, eating, and dancing, and after a point, I forgot she was even there. Everybody went home, including Debbie, and we went to sleep. Next morning, it was a Saturday, so James and I were in bed till very late. His phone rang, and it was his mother asking him if she could come over to talk about something urgent. We both got a little worried, but then thought it would probably be something about the wedding. Guys, She came over 2 hours later and we all sat in the living room. Without greeting us or anything, she just asked me if I was an atheist. And I was like, where did this even come from? I said, no, I'm not an atheist, and I asked her why she was asking me this. It turns out apparently my aunt had talked to her last night while we were all in the trance of the party. They both got to talking, and according to my mother-in-law, this is how the conversation went. Debbie said to her that it was so remarkable how, even though she was a Catholic, she was letting her son marry a, atheist and welcoming her with open arms. Mother-in-law asked her what she meant by that, to which Debbie said that I did not believe in celibacy, and that I also believed that, getting rid of a baby before it's born is a woman's right. Basically, that I was pro-choice. Choice, all of which is true. But I did not understand the relevance of any of this. There was a bunch of other things too. Debbie told her about my religious belief, which basically dismantled my mother-in-law's entire perspective towards me because she's a conservative Catholic. And these were the things that were not even relevant to my relationship or marriage with James. Which is why in the 3 years that we've been together, none of this has ever been brought up in front of his mother, which only goes to show how arbitrary and irrelevant they were. But not to my mother-in-law. She came in, interrogated me, and then turned to James, saying that she was very disappointed in him for never telling her that I was such an atheist, and that she could not let him marry me. We were both knocked out of our brains. She wanted to call off the wedding, which was in 7 days, because of my religious views. That's when I understood the purpose of Debbie's visit. She went to destroy my wedding, and she was succeeding at it. She purposely filed my mother-in-law's head with all this nonsense, which had never come up in the last 3 years. As I'm writing this, I just feel stupid that I let her stay that night. Everything was going so great before she graced me with her presence. Having seen the things that she put my mother through, and then her behavior at my birthday party, I was foolish to think that it would go any different this time. James got into a fight with his mom because his views about religion are the same as mine. So none of this information was new to him, let alone important enough to call off a wedding. He was actually really shocked that his mother was being such a bigot, and shallow enough to let something as vile as this affect her opinions about me. He said that we had spent so much time together in the last 2 years, and she only ever had good things to say about me, but suddenly all of that was different. Honestly, I was so mad at both my mother-in-law and especially at Debbie. And you know what? I did not mention this before, but James and I both think that all these wedding rituals are so unnecessary because we've already been living together for 2 years. What was a wedding even going to change? But we always knew that our families would not understand that. So we anyways went ahead with the wedding for their sake, even when we don't believe in all this religious facade. But now she was assassinating my character altogether, because my beliefs were different than hers, which, by the way, are also beliefs of the son that she raised by herself. Guys, she left in a frenzy after the fight, and it was really abrupt and drastic. The last thing she screamed before she left the house was that she only liked me because she did not really know who I was, and that I've been deceiving her long enough, and she was not going to let any atheist into her son's life, even if that meant she had to cut ties with him. James was heartbroken that his mother would say something so cheap and shallow. He had never seen this side of her. Of course, neither of us wants him to cut ties with his mom, but we can't just call off the wedding. We still love each other. This all happened this morning, and we've both been in a very distraught mood and depressed. We have no idea what to do, especially when the wedding is literally in 7 days. James tried to call his mom multiple times, but she didn't answer. Guess what? We also just got a call from the booking of our wedding venue. It's been canceled. James's mother is the one who got us the venue for a cheap price, since her friend's husband owned it. And now our calls are not even reaching them because I'm pretty sure his mother asked them not to pick up. I literally feel like everything is closing in on me right now. I feel like I can't move, I can't breathe, I don't even know what our next move should be, because invitations have been sent out. Do I cancel it? Should we just not do anything because we do live together? Or is that going to be another reason for his mom to cause problems in the future? My head is absolutely spinning. I thought writing about this here would help, but it's only made me feel more overwhelmed. I hate Debbie. I'm so done with her because I'm going to make her pay for everything she's even put me and my mom through. But of course, I desperately need your help, because as you can see, everything is nothing but a mess right now. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. I hope you're enjoying your day. I would hate to be in OP's position and have to deal with this person. But at the same time, I'm wondering, why doesn't OP just cut her off for good? Let me know what you would do in the comment section down below. We do have an update coming up, update number 1, and things are about to get a little different. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that button. Here's the first update. Okay guys, if things were not already royally messed up, my mother-in-law has just gone way beyond the pale this time. I'm disgusted to even think, how can she stoop so low? I honestly think that at this point, both of them seriously lack basic human sense and maturity. It's been 2 weeks since I last updated you guys, and it's been hell since then. After a point, James and I stopped calling his mother, because anyway, she wasn't picking up. It took us 3 to 4 days to just process what happened, and we were both in such bad mental states. Then, after a few days when James was at work, I was at home because I was sick. The bell rang, and it was both Debbie and my mother-in-law, who had come together to influence us to stop the wedding. I was sick and coughing like a madman, but they didn't care, and I just launched into some pre-prepared monologue about Christianity. Christianity and religion were so bleak and boring that I don't even remember any of what they were saying. I confronted them with a sore throat and told them that nothing they would say had the power to affect me and James's decision. They stayed for 2 hours, and after 2 hours, James came home, and his mother's disposition suddenly went from aggressive to soft, painting herself as the victim when I was clearly sick, and also the one getting mentally abused by them. So Josh starts to scream at them because he was really getting mad about how they just snuck in on me right behind his back, trying to bully me. He was particularly mad at my aunt because she was just there for the show and wasn't getting anything out of doing this at all. Well, after they left, I just suggested something to him. I said, what if we told them that we've decided to call off the wedding, and then we went ahead with it behind their back? We were both happy just not getting married at all and continuing to live together. But as some of you mentioned, that would have given them more reason to cause problems in the future. I'm sorry if I forgot to thank all of you for your support on my journey. I knew this situation was absolutely ridiculous, but after reading your comments, I realized all of this is beyond insane. Thank you so much for being there with me. So anyways, when I suggested all of this to James, he seemed to like the idea, but he was understandably a little hesitant about the whole thing. But then we talked and realized that we had nothing to lose. It would be too late when they found out, as we would already be married. After that, they might try to cause problems, but they would have to eventually stop. So that's what we did. The moment I recovered from my fever, we went to church to get married. Well, we reached there, and just as it was our chance, the door opened. We heard my mother-in-law's voice, and I still don't know how she even found out about it, but there she was with Debbie, of course. They barged in and started screaming all over the place, and mother-in-law pushed me. James and I tried to stop them because they did not even care that they were causing a scene in a church. On one hand, my mother-in-law was so religious, but there she was screaming slurs at me in front of Jesus Christ. All of this got really out of hand because they did not enter the church in a mood to talk. She pushed me again, and my waist hit the altar. All the candles fell down, and one of them even burned the cloth on the table, which was luckily extinguished right then and there, but, before it erupted. But the entire scene was so hysterical, which is what they were getting kicked out of the church for. And the church even threatened to report them for damaging the property. This is the kind of crap that they pull. Is this all just a joke to you? And it did not end there. Now, they were being kicked. There was no way for them to stop us from getting married, so guess what mother-in-law did? She faked a heart attack. Yeah, you read that right. She faked a heart attack so that we would have to take her to the hospital. And if we didn't, it would have looked bad in front of everyone. It boils my blood to just think about the entire scene. What kind of grown-up does stuff like this? After this, of course, we had to take her to the hospital, and that's where I'm writing this update right now. From a hospital in my wedding dress. My head is so clogged with anger right now that I can't even think straight, which is why I need to write this update right now. I feel like we were seriously running out of options at this point, and I feel devastated. I feel like crying because I'm angry, and at the same time I felt helpless that I just don't know what to do. I talk to James a lot, and he's in the same boat as me, if not worse, since it's his mother causing all this, guys, and I seriously just don't know what to do from here. Updates number 2. Hey guys, I'm back with another update. Well, I know it's been quite a while. It's been a month since I updated y'all. It was so explosive and bizarre to see everything that happened that day. It was probably the craziest day of my entire life. Just about 15 minutes after I wrote that update, the doctor came out telling us that she was fine. She did not have a heart attack. Surprise, surprise. We all knew that she had done this to stop the wedding, and my aunt stood there pretending to have been so worried about her it was nauseating. The doctor said we could go in and meet her, but James did not have it in him to look at his mother at the moment. He told my aunt to tell her that we were leaving. When she asked why we were leaving, he did not answer and just grabbed my hand and left. He was really heartbroken, and I could see it on his face. We reached home and just hugged each other and fell asleep. We did not have the mental state or emotional energy to talk about everything that happened. The next morning, I woke up feeling completely helpless because we have tried everything. But then James said, "What if we left the country and went on our honeymoon?" I asked him on what honeymoon. We weren't married. And he said that if we leave the country and get married abroad, there's no way that we could crash the wedding or do anything to ruin it. We were supposed to leave for our honeymoon anyways, and everything was already booked. I jumped at this idea because I was depressed, and that's exactly when he came up with the brilliant idea. But I told him that before we leave, I have to pay a visit to Grandma. I'll tell you later why that was, but whoa, that's what I did. I visited Grandma, then a few days after that, we left for our honeymoon and wedding in Italy. They tried calling us multiple times, but we didn't answer. Guys, long story short, we got married and have been staying in Italy for a whole month. While they have absolutely no idea where we disappeared to, but we did leave them something. But I can tell you, not just yet, actually, as I need to make sure my plans have come to fruition before I can tell you about it. All I can say is that, with the number of times they've called us, I think we were finally able to teach them their lesson. I need to find a way to contact my grandmother to confirm all this, since she's old and does not have international calling plans. Once I've talked to her, I'll update you guys. Meanwhile, if you can suggest any ways I can contact my grandma from here, we're trying to figure it out, but it would be great help. Final updates. Update number 3. Wow, oh my gosh. Wow, you guys were really invested in the last update. I'm just so sorry. It did not leave you hanging on purpose, I bet. It's just that I could not post about my plan publicly until I could be sure it went through because there's always a risk of someone in my family reading it. It's been 2 weeks since my last update, and we were supposed to leave for Italy after a month. But we decided to extend our honeymoon. After all the trauma we've been through in the last few months, it's the first time that we've been able to relax and feel normal, so we're still here. But anyways, getting back to my story, we were able to contact my grandma after like 3 to 4 days of trying. But wait, actually now I'll tell you how she comes into play in all this. So, right before we left for our honeymoon, I went to her house and told her everything my aunt's been doing. I told her about the wedding, I told her about the birthday, and also the stuff that she did to my mother. Well, she already knew about the stuff with Mom, and Mom had also gone to her multiple times after getting hurt by Debbie. She said that everything I was saying was giving her a deja vu of my mom, and she felt so bad for me. But it turns out after my mother had died, she had a full-blown conversation with Debbie, saying that my mom died with a lot of emotional pain because of her, and she needs to get her act together or else they're going to kick her off of the will. I think this was the reason that she disappeared for a year, but of course her real, ugly self would eventually make itself known, now won't it? Well, when I told Grandma about the birthday and all the stuff at the wedding, she was shocked because she thought that Debbie had finally gotten her act together. But that was not the case. So guys, I told Grandma to wait till I leave for Italy just to do it so she could not unleash more chaos on us, and Grandma agreed. She just wanted what was best for me, and she was really happy to hear that we could finally get married. She was invited to our main wedding, but we had to tell everyone we were postponing that. So now, coming back to the main part. I called my grandmother to ask her if she had told Debbie that she was no longer a part of her will. My grandmother congratulated me first and then said that she had done it 2 weeks ago. There was like a huge fight between her and Debbie as expected, but Grandma handled it. She got Debbie kicked out of the will and told her that she had brought it upon herself. And since Debbie had always been very scared and intimidated by her, she had no choice but to leave. Hence the million calls we've been getting from her, because she has no one else left to blame. And I can't help but think that if I had told Grandma about this before, it would have saved me so much damn trouble. But anyways, that was not it. James also left a note for his mom, which was delivered to her by his friends after we had gotten married. The note said that she should stop bothering to call him or trying to stop his wedding since we had gone ahead and done it ourselves. It also mentioned that being a Catholic, she could not even ask him to divorce me as it was against her principles. So all that was left for her was to accept it and move on. And in a case she wanted to contact us, she would not be able to because we were not in the country and there was no way in hell we would pick up her calls. So that's it, guys. That's that. James and I are enjoying our honeymoon in Italy, and Debbie and mother-in-law are being forced to face their worst woes. By the time we get back, hopefully their loud reactions will calm down a bit. If not, I'm sure Grandma will be more than happy to do more damage control to Debbie for my sake. And James's mom will, I don't know, have become the prey of her own prejudice. We'll stay in Italy for a few more weeks. It's been a hell of a ride. I remember how devastated I was when I first started this post, and how supportive you guys have been throughout. I really did not know how much I needed you guys. Thank you for the comments and the caring about my story. Hopefully, this is my last update, so long. I wish you the best. Bye for now. Guys, I would love to know your thoughts on this story. There's one in particular comment that got a lot of hate in the comment section. It says, so, OP, you destroyed a mother-daughter relationship, and you're proud of yourself like that? There were 1,000 other things you could have done to get out of the situation, but you chose to be petty. Your aunt is also pretty old. Have you ever thought that maybe she's also lonely? And it seems to me that the only reason she did all this was because she showed up at your house that day and saw that you had not invited her to the wedding. Her sister's daughter had not invited her to her wedding. Of course she was hurt. Yes, the way she dealt with it was wrong, but not once did you also try talking to her. I'm sorry, but I just feel sorry and bad for her. And you have painted such a pretty image of her, but you're no different than what she did. Guys, let me know if you think that commenter is bonkers, or do you think there's some truth to what that comment said? Drop it down below. Let's discuss this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you want more daily videos, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and of course, remember, it's cool to be kind. Peace.